The strange stillness in the pines. My name is Daniel Hale, and I've been hiking the forests of California for the better part of 20 years. Not for work, not for survival, just for the peace of it. Some people go to church, some meditate. Me? I throw a pack on my back and disappear into the trees for a couple of days. I've got my favorite trails, some well-known, some I keep to myself. There's a sort of language the woods have. One you can't hear if you only ever walk asphalt. It's in the way the wind moves, the smell of pine and cedar, the crunch under your boots. I've done this enough times to know the difference between a normal quiet and the wrong kind of quiet. And that difference, that wrong kind of quiet, is what I ran into last October. I had a long weekend off work and decided to spend it hiking in the Sierra Nevada foothills. Not too high up. I wasn't looking to deal with snow, but high enough that you start to feel the world empty out around you. My plan was simple. Hike in 10 miles the first day, camp near an old logging road I'd marked years ago, and then loop back around. Day one went just the way I like it. A steady climb, air crisp enough to see your breath in the morning, and sunlight that filters down through the pines like it's been traveling forever just to land on your shoulders. I passed one other hiker in the first couple of hours. Older guy, baseball cap, carrying nothing but a water bottle, which struck me as odd for that far in. He didn't make much eye contact, just nodded, muttered something I couldn't make out, and kept going. By late afternoon, I reached the old logging road. It was barely a road anymore, just a faint line where the trees didn't quite reclaim the earth. I'd camped near there before. Always liked it because it felt open enough to keep an eye on things, but still sheltered from the wind. I set up my tent, boiled some water for instant noodles, and sat watching the light drain out of the sky. That's when the forest went still. Not quiet. Still. It's hard to explain unless you felt it. Even in a quiet forest, there's movement. Branches creak, leaves shiver, small things skitter under the brush. But in that moment, it was as if the woods were holding their breath. The wind had been whispering through the pines all day, and now it just stopped. Even the air felt heavier, like it was pressing down on my shoulders. I remember looking around and realizing I couldn't hear the creek anymore, the one I'd been listening to not 10 minutes before. It wasn't far, maybe 50 yards downhill, but the sound was gone, like someone had turned off the world. I told myself it was nothing. Maybe the wind had shifted, carrying sound away. Maybe I'd just gotten used to the creek and my brain tuned it out. But there was a part of me, the part that's learned to listen, that didn't buy it. The stillness lasted maybe a minute, maybe two. Then from somewhere deeper in the woods, I heard something. Not a branch snapping, not an animal call. It was more like a single, deliberate knock. Wood on wood. I froze. It wasn't loud, but it carried. And it wasn't followed by anything. Just one heavy thunk. And then the silence folded in again. It's easy sitting here now to come up with rational explanations. Woodpecker. Falling branch. But in that moment, in that stillness, it didn't feel like either. It felt placed, like it was meant to be heard. I ate the rest of my dinner with much appetite, crawled into my tent and zipped it shut. I didn't sleep much. Every sound felt amplified. The zipper of my sleeping bag, my own heartbeat. Around midnight, I heard something else. A faint rustling outside. Slow and deliberate. circling. I didn't move. I didn't even breathe too loud. The steps, if you could call them that, would come for a few seconds, then stop, then start again, a little further around the tent. I couldn't see anything through the nylon, and I was about to shine my light. Part of me thought it could be a deer. Another part, the part listening to how controlled the movements were, wasn't so sure. This went on for, I don't know. Time moves strange when you're listening that hard. But eventually, the drift sounds drifted off. The stillness returned. The next morning, the forest seemed back to normal. Sunlight, bird song, even the creek was noisy again. I packed up and decided to cut the loop short, heading back toward the trailhead. I told myself I was just tired, but in truth, I didn't like the idea of another night out there. About an hour into the hike back, I found something in the middle of the trail. A single piece of wood, maybe a foot long, leaning upright against a rock. Balanced, perfectly still. Not wedged, not buried. Just standing. I stopped and stared at it. A breeze could have knocked it over, but it didn't. I stepped around it, careful not to touch it, and kept walking. I didn't see another soul the whole way back. I've gone on plenty of hikes since then, but I haven't been back to that logging road. And sometimes when I'm laying awake at night, I think about that stillness, that deliberate knock in the distance, and the thing circling my tent. And I wonder if it's still out there, waiting for me to listen again.